week. We'll start now this session. While some more participants are joining. It is time. So good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to everyone. My name is Alan Wittig. I'm a program officer in the Secretariat of the Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Conventions. I'm here today with my colleague Kay Ono. We'd like to warmly welcome all of you to this webinar session. We hope that you're all well and keeping safe in these times of crisis. This webinar session will be covering first a briefing on the 16th meeting of the Persistent Organic Pollutants Review Committee of the Stockholm Convention, which I will provide. This will be followed by a briefing on the outcomes of the 16th meeting of the Chemical Review Committee of the Rotterdam Convention. This will be provided by my colleague Kay. These briefings will be followed by a session of questions and answers. The session will last about 1 hour. This is the second briefing on these topics this week. The first was held on 10th of November. Both briefings are being recorded and will be made available on the convention website. We kindly ask you to mute your microphones and switch off your cameras during the time of the presentations, as this will improve the quality of the audio. I hope you can hear me well, and I will now begin with the briefing. So the first briefing is indeed on the 16th meeting of the POPs Review Committee. So the POPs Review Committee, also known as POPRC, is a subsidiary body under the Stockholm Convention, and it has several mandates. The first mandate is to review chemicals that are proposed by parties for listing in chemicals in Annexes A, B, and or C to the Convention. And this is according to the process that is laid out in the Article 8 of the Convention, together with the information requirements and criteria that are listed in Annexes B, E, and F to the Convention. This process from the committee's level consists of 3 review steps, and we will look at these in a little bit more detail when we look at the actual chemicals currently being reviewed by the committee. The committee is also to make recommendations to the Conference of the Parties as an outcome of their review of the chemicals. And the committee is also to undertake other technical work as assigned to it by the Conference of the Parties. The committee is composed of 31 government-designated experts from 5 UN regions. The experts are designated for a term of 4 years, which can be extended to another 4 years. And about half of the committee rotates every 2 years, and this is in order to ensure the continuity of the work and the expertise within the committee. The meetings are also open to observers, and in the context of these meetings, observers are either parties to the Stockholm Convention or admitted observers to the meetings of the Convention's Conference of the Parties. Now turning to POPRC 16. Initially, POPRC 16 was planned in September this year as a face-to-face meeting in Rome at the FAO headquarters. It became evident that it was not possible due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic to organize this meeting as a face-to-face meeting as initially planned. And in June, the Bureau, in consultation with the members, the POPRC members, agreed to firstly postpone the dates of the meeting to 11 to 15 January 2021, and agreed to hold the meeting either as a face-to-face meeting in Geneva, if that was possible, and if not, as an online meeting. The The members in the Bureau also agreed that they would look at this format and take a decision on the format in early October. In early October, the Bureau, in discussion with the Secretariat and in consultation with the POPRC members, agreed that owing to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and as an exceptional measure, the entire meeting, including plenary sessions, pre-meetings, and contact group meetings, would be conducted online. The interim chair of the meeting is Mr. Peter Dawson from New Zealand. And now looking more specifically at the decision, the latest decision on the format and dates of the meeting, the POPRC 16 will be held from 11th to 16th of January. So you note that it's been extended by 1 day, so it's a 6-day meeting from Monday to Saturday, and this is due to the fact that it's online and it requires this extra day to complete its work. Each day, the online sessions will take place between 12 p.m., so this is noon, 12 p.m. noon Geneva time, to 4:30 p.m. Geneva time. These sessions each day will be composed of two 2-hour sessions with a 30-minute break between each session. You realize that the timing may not be ideal for all participants and all members, but this was felt as the best possible timing, taking into account the wide range of time zones. So it's true that for certain participants it will be quite early, for others it will be quite late, but this was really decided as the best possible timing given the wide range of time zones. It should be noted that in this decision also, the Bureau decided to have a series of pre-meetings held on 1, 2, and 3 December. And these will be held each day from 11:30 a.m. Geneva time to 3 p.m. And I'll come back to give more details on the pre-meetings in a few slides. POPRC operates in the 6 UN languages, so as like a usual face-to-face meetings, all plenary sessions of POPRC 16 will be held with simultaneous interpretation, and contact group sessions and pre-meetings will be held in English only. Here you see on the slide the website, link to the website, the POPRC 16 website. We invite you to go and check out the website. A lot of information has been already been posted on the website and will be posted, and more information will be posted in the coming days and weeks. So we really encourage you to consult and check the website regularly for updated information. Now turning to some of the key documents that you need to review in preparation for the meeting. So the first meeting document is obviously the provisional agenda, which is contained in document 1. Another important document is the annotated agenda, which is contained in document 1 add 1. And the scenario notes for the meeting is contained in information document 1 Rev 1, and the tentative schedule is contained in information document 2 Rev 1. So the tentative schedule was revised and is available on the website in light of the decision on the format and the new format for the meeting. And the scenario note is currently being revised and will be posted very shortly, also to reflect the changing format of the meeting. All other meeting documents are available on the website and have been for some time now. So we encourage you to, if not already done, to consult and review these documents in preparation for the meeting. So here is a view of the provisional agenda. So this is the agenda that's contained in document 1 for the meeting. I will not go in the details of this agenda. I'll focus in the next few slides on the technical work to be undertaken by the POPRC 16. This is the item 4 on the screen. But just to note that the decision by the Bureau was not to modify the agenda for the purpose of this meeting, but rather to work on prioritizing the work, the technical work in particular, that needs to be completed and presented for consideration at the next Stockholm COP10 in 2021. And we'll look a little bit closer at the schedule of the meeting in a few slides. We're looking now more closely at the technical work of POPRC 16. The first item on the technical work is the consideration of a draft risk profile on decloran plus, an isomer and anti-isomer. This constitutes the second review step by the committee of these chemicals. At its previous meeting in POPRC 15, the committee decided that the proposal to list this chemical in the convention that was submitted by Norway fulfilled the screening criteria in Annex D to the convention and established an intersessional working group to prepare a draft risk profile. So the POPRC 16 now is to consider this draft risk profile on this chemical, and this draft risk profile is contained in document 2. And you should note that additional information on this draft risk profile is contained in information document 14, and a compilation of comments and responses related to the draft risk profile is contained in information document 4. The POPRC 16 may wish to adopt with any amendments to the risk profile and decide whether the chemicals are persistent organic pollutants that global action is warranted. And if so, it may decide to establish an intersessional working group to prepare a draft risk management evaluation and invite parties and observers to submit the Annex F information on socio-economic consideration on possible control measures. So this would move now these chemicals to the third review step by the committee. Turning to the second item under the technical work, it's the consideration of a draft risk profile on methoxychlor. So this chemical is at the same stage as the previous one. POPRC 15 decided that the proposal that was submitted by the European Union fulfilled the criteria of Annex D and established an intersessional working group to prepare the draft risk profile. This draft risk profile is contained in document 3, and the compilation of comments and responses relating to the draft risk profile is contained in information document 5. So you're encouraged to review these documents together in preparation for the meeting. Much like for the previous chemical, the POPRC 16 may adopt with any amendments to the risk profile and decide whether the chemical is a POPs that require action, that global action is required. And it may also establish an intersessional working group to prepare the draft risk management evaluation, and again invite parties and observers to submit Annex F information on socioeconomic consideration on possible control measures. So turning to the third item under the technical work, it would be the consideration of a proposal for the listing of the chemical UV328 in the Annex A to the Convention. This is a proposal that has been submitted by Switzerland and is contained in document 4. In document INF 6 Rev 1 is the Secretariat's verification whether the proposal contains the Annex D information. POPRC 16 may decide whether the proposal fulfills the criteria, the screening criteria in Annex D, and decide to develop and agree on a work plan for preparing a draft risk profile in accordance with the Annex D information. UV328 is a UV absorber in many products. It is used as a printing ink additive in food contact materials. It's also a UV filter that is used in an antioxidant for plastics, and is a light stabilizer for a variety of plastics and other organic substrates. Looking at other agenda items, so still on the items under its technical work, the committee is to review information related to specific exemptions for decarbonadiphenyl ether and short-chain chlorinated paraffin. Both these chemicals have been listed, were listed by Stockholm COP8 in Annex A with specific exemptions. And in accordance with decisions 813 and 8-14, POPRC 15 established an intersessional work, or two intersessional working groups on a review of information related to the specific exemptions of these two chemicals. The reports produced by these groups are contained in information documents 7 and 8 respectively. A compilation of comments and responses related to those draft reports are contained in information documents 9 and 10 respectively, and POPRC 16 is to complete the reports for the consideration by the Stockholm COP10. Another item is on the evaluation and review of brominated diphenyl ethers pursuant to paragraph 2 of parts 4 and 5 of Annex A. So these chemicals are listed in Annex A with specific exemptions, and Stockholm COP6 adopted a process for the evaluation and review of the specific exemptions of these chemicals. The first evaluation and review took place at COP8 and is to take place every second COP thereafter. So the next review is to take place at Stockholm COP10. In accordance with this process, the Secretariat is to prepare reports with input from the committee for consideration by the COP. The POPRC 16 is to review and provide comments on the draft report prepared by the Secretariat, which is contained in document 11. And the Secretariat is to finalize the reports on the evaluation for consideration by Stockholm COP10. The last item of its technical work for POPRC 16 is on the indicative list of substances covered by the listing of perfluoroethanoic acid, PFOA, with salts and PFOA-related compounds. So COP9 in 2019 listed these chemicals in Annex A with specific exemptions. The COP also invited parties and others to provide further information regarding the identification of the substances covered by the listing of these chemicals. And COP9 also requested the Secretary to compile, in consultation with the committee, the information submitted by parties and others, and to establish an indicative list of PFOA salts and PFOA-related compounds. The compilation of the information submitted is found in information document 12, and POPRC 16 is to review the information submitted and provide comments on the establishment of an indicative list of PFOA salts and PFOA-related compounds. Other items on the agenda include the rotation of the membership, so the committee will receive a report on this rotation. It should be noted that 14 newly nominated members started their term on 5th of May 2020. So this will be their first POPRC meeting as members. These members did participate in POPRC 15 as observers to get acquainted with the work of the committee. The committee will also hear reports on the activities for effective participation in the work of the committee, and will consider a work plan for the intersessional period for its work between POPRC 16 and POPRC 7. Now turning to the participation in POPRC 16. So registration for POPRC members and observers is required, and this is an important fact that it's also required for the pre-meetings in December. The deadline for registration is coming up shortly, so everyone has received invitation letters, and the registration deadline closes for members on 16 November and for observers on 18 November. The confirmation letters will shortly be sent out, so towards the mid to end next week, once the registration deadline has closed. And in light of the ongoing COVID pandemic situation, exceptional support for the reimbursement of communication costs will be provided to assist eligible POPRC members from developing countries and countries with economies in transition to participate in the meeting. These costs, reimbursement, this support is to cover the costs incurred to secure a reliable and good quality internet connection. So the details about the modalities and the policy for this reimbursement of communications costs will be included in the confirmation letters and posted on the convention website. And this policy is also in line with a recent UNEP policy, given the exceptional circumstances we are all experiencing. For the registration, if you have not yet registered, please do so. And to do so, please contact the Secretary, Ms. Stephanie Cadet, at the address shown on the screen. So this is now the tentative schedule for POPRC 16. This is the same table that is found in the information document 2, Rev 1. I will not describe in detail each day, but what I'd like to point out here is the way these sessions are organized and structured. So every day, looking at Monday through Thursday, each day will start first with a 2-hour session, a plenary session interpreted in the 6 UN languages. These sessions will start at 12 p.m., so that's noon, 12 p.m. noon Geneva time to 2 p.m. These sessions will be followed by a 30-minute break, and after the break, the meeting will reconvene in the format of contact groups in English only. This same schedule or format will be followed from Monday through Thursday. On Friday, both 2-hour sessions, will be dedicated to work in the contact groups in English only. And the last day of the meeting, Saturday, will be dedicated to 2 plenary sessions with interpretation. So although the timing here indicated is indicated as 12 p.m., we really encourage you to please connect at least 30 minutes, if not up to 60 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. And this is in order to do the final trials and tests of your microphone to make sure you can hear and be heard. So it's really, really important that you connect in advance in order to ensure the smooth running of the meeting. I'd also like to point out that during the contact group sessions, only one contact group will be running. So there will not be parallel contact groups running, and this is due to the limitations of the online setting. And here you see also in this table how the work of the committee is being prioritized on those items that need to be completed to be presented to the Stockholm Convention. Now, coming to the pre-meetings. So the pre-meetings, as I mentioned earlier, will be held from 1 to 3 December in English only. It will start at 11:30 a.m. Geneva time and end at 3 p.m. Again, here you're really encouraged to connect at least 30 minutes, if not more, before the start of the pre-meetings. The aim of the pre-meetings are to provide an early opportunity to introduce and discuss the technical work. So these will focus on the technical work of the meeting. And this is in order to facilitate the work of the meeting in general. So participants are encouraged to actively participate in the pre-meetings and contribute to a full and rich exchange of views and information on the different technical topics. And this is with the goal of contributing to the efficient use of time available during POPRC 16 in January. The comments and inputs coming out of these pre-meetings will be made available to POPRC 16 in the form of conference room papers. You will find further information on the pre-meetings on the website. There's been some information posted this morning, so we welcome you to go and check out. There's more information there, including the program. So the program is now posted on the website, and you will see that the program, the first 2 days of the meetings will focus on the main technical items. The first day will focus on the 2 draft risk profile. So dedicated sessions on these items will be allocated. You should note that there is a pre-meeting document 2, which contains an updated version of the risk profile on the toxic wall. So this will be considered as one of the documents for the pre-meetings. Day 2 of the pre-meetings will look at the other technical work of the committee to be considered by POPRC 16. And day 3 will focus on following up on the discussions that took place on these matters during the first 2 days of the pre-meeting. So as I said, you can look at the website, POPRC 16 website for more information. Now I'll end this presentation with some more practical information for participants and technical aspects. So much like the usual face-to-face meetings, there will be an intranet site. It will be a password-protected intranet site. And username and passwords to access this intranet site will be communicated to all registered participants ahead of the meeting. We anticipate this communication will go out the week 23 November, so in a couple of weeks. And as usual, the intranet site will contain pre-session documents, in-session documents during the meeting in January, the draft meeting report, information on daily schedules, and importantly, the link to the platform for the session. So all sessions, so POPRC 16, including pre-meetings, contact group meetings, will be conducted using the platform Interprify. Interprify is a platform that is used quite widely in the UN system and for many UN meetings. It was used under the Rotterdam Convention for the 12th meeting of the Open-Ended Working Group in September. And the link to this platform will be accessible through the intranet. So you really only need to log on the intranet, and from there you have an easy access to the platform. There'll be detailed instructions and guidance on how to participate in the sessions that will be sent out ahead of the meeting. And also, we'll be organizing a series of test sessions or trial sessions or trainings, so to speak, to ensure that every participant is technically ready to connect to the system. And these will be held ahead of the pre-meetings end of November, in December, and then ahead of the meeting itself in January. The exact dates of these trial sessions will be communicated to all registered participants shortly. Just a couple of points on the technical requirements from Interprify. Interprify runs on either Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or Edge browsers. So you need to have one of these 3 browsers installed on your computer. And I've heard that Google Chrome works the best on the system. So something to keep in mind. It is best to work from a laptop, to connect from a laptop rather than a mobile device. And also headsets and a stable internet connection is advisable for clearer audio. Now my last slide is on some important email addresses and telephone numbers. So there will be ongoing technical support during each of these sessions. And here you see the email address support. There's a couple of phone numbers, and there will also be a private chat box for technical support. This chat box is not for substantive matters. They're really for discussing technical issues with the technical support team. Thank you very much for your attention. This concludes my presentation. Now I'll pass the ball over to Kay, who will provide the next presentation. Emily, could you help pass the ball to Kay, please? How do I do that? Let me try. Okay. Kay, you have the floor. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for the presentation on the POPRC. If you have questions, please, maybe you can send your questions by chat message, or there will be a Q&A session after my presentation. So please take note of your questions. Now I give you a presentation on the outcomes of CRC 16 that took place from 8 to 11 September online meeting. Usually CRC and POPRC meetings take place back-to-back in Rome, but this year, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this was not possible. And for CRC, it was important to organize this meeting already in September because the decision needed to be forwarded to COP10 that will take place in July 2021 for consideration. So the meeting was chaired by Zuki from South Africa. There were 114 participants, which is a record-breaking number for CRC. This is one of the benefits of online meetings, that we can have a larger number of participants attending in the meeting. The committee adopted 2 draft decision guidance documents and reviewed 1 final regulatory action, and it also agreed on the time schedule for intersessional task group work between CRC 16 and CRC 17. The first draft decision guidance document that the committee adopted was on decabromodiphenyl ether. It is a chemical already listed in Annex A to the Stockholm Convention, and the notifications were submitted by Japan, Norway, and Canada. The notifications were reviewed at CRC 15 last year. The committee decided to recommend listing deca-BDE in Annex 3 to the Rotterdam Convention. And during the CRC 16 meeting, the committee finalized the draft decision guidance document and decided to forward it to the Conference of Parties at its 10th meeting in 2021. Therefore, at the next COP meeting, it is expected that the Conference of Parties is to consider listing of deca-BDE among other chemicals. The second chemical that the committee considered was PFOA, its salts and PFOA-related compounds. And as you know, those substances are also listed in Annex A to the Stockholm Convention. For those chemicals, the notifications were submitted by Canada and Norway and were reviewed at CRC 14 in 2018. The committee had already recommended listing in Annex 3, prepared draft decision guidance document, and adopted it at CRC 15 in 2019. But since then, the committee received another notification, new notification from Norway, replacing the previous notification. Therefore, CRC 16 had to review that new notification from Norway. And after the review, the committee concluded that the new notification met all criteria in Annex 2 and recommended listing PFOA with a CAT number 335671 and its salts and PFOA-related compounds in Annex 3. In the same decision, committee noted that the definition of PFOA, its salts and PFOA-related compounds was provided in the draft decision guidance document, and that the definition covered a large number of chemicals so that an exhaustive list of CAT numbers was not available. So this sentence is included in the decision by CRC 16 on PFOA. The committee recommended that the COP, if COP decides to list those chemicals, then they should consider requesting the Secretariat to prepare, in consultation with the CRC, an indicative list of those substances, like in the same approach taken by the Stockholm Convention together with the POPs Review Committee. Then during the CRC 16 meeting, the committee managed to revise the draft DGD that was adopted at CRC 15, and then the committee adopted the revised draft DGD. Therefore, at COP10 in 2021, PFOA will also be considered for listing in Annex 3. Those are the only 2 substances that were considered at CRC 16 because of the limited time available in online meetings. But in addition, the Secretariat had received a number of final regulatory actions in advance of CRC 16, and those consideration on those substances were postponed. But in order to maximize the time available before CRC 17, the committee agreed that they would advance the review of those substances, final regulatory actions, in advance of the CRC 17 meeting. So those 7 substances are carbaryl, iprodion, telbufos, chlorbenfos, thiodicals, methylation, methylparathion. So those are all 7. Those are all pesticides. There was another substance, furfural, that we received a notification. However, after verifying the information, we noticed that the notifications were not matching together. So it was concluded that those 7 substances are for review by CRC. The review is taking place right now between December 2020 and until April 2021. Thereafter, there may be more new substances that needs to be considered. The cutoff date for identifying additional substances that could be considered by CRC is end of April. And so if there are additional substances, then those might also go into intersessional work, depending on the workload of the committee. So as usual, this intersessional review process is carried out by intersessional task groups to be established by the Bureau, and it will be composed of CRC members. Parties and observers will have opportunity to provide comment on the draft task group report around mid-March 2021. So CRC 17 pre-meeting is going to discuss the comments on the task group later. This is, I think, the last slide that I have. The report of the meeting is available in English now on the website. Language versions will become available shortly. And CRC 17 is tentatively scheduled to take place from 20 to 24 September 2021 in Rome. So thank you very much. That was it for the CRC 16 debriefing. And I invite questions from the